to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
Welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giant podcast. I'm your host, Roberto, not joined by Drew. He is fixing up his moat, getting ready to go live for the Bengals game. We got a big day Sunday night football. Guys, can you wait? I can't wait. DJ in the spotlight going against the new jobbers of the NFL. It's exciting times to be a football Giants fan. So, that being said, I guess let's jump right into a couple things here. That being also, before we jump into anything, let's rewind. Obviously, Drew's not here. He is also lives in Clearwater, Florida. He went through the hurricane. He's in the middle of cleaning up, and he has no power. So, anyone that's down in the area, my thoughts, prayers, and all that go out to you guys. Be safe, and I hope everything gets up and running for you guys as soon as possible. Now, that being said, let's talk about some football, right? Because we got some injuries to go over here, right? Up first on this injury report, we have Malik Neighbors. He did not practice today. The NFL does not know what they're going to do with him. They are taking the concussion protocol very serious this year. I mean, just look at Tua. The guy's been out for weeks. He's been out for a month at this point, and he was battered. But you also have Malik Neighbors now. This is week 2, and we don't know. This is if he plays this week, it'll be a 10-day rest period, which is a nice set period for a player after concussion protocol because this was standard a week. So let's hope he plays. But if not, let's hope he doesn't have his brain scrambled a little too much there. Up next on who did not practice today, we talked about it yesterday a little bit, but Kayvon Thibodeau with his wrist. He had the minor surgery there. He could miss up to 6 weeks. We don't know yet. It is possible. So we got to prepare for it. Luckily, we didn't look too shabby. And luckily, we don't need too much on actually, that's a lie. I was going to say we don't need too much defense. That's all we need this game to stop Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Higgins. We also had Van Rotten. Did not. He had full practice. He had no injury. He had just a rest day. We had John Runyon. He was sick. He did not practice today. But I do expect him to play a game. He got a little flu. There was a bug going around. You got Brian Burns, who had an injury to his groin. He had to do a stretch there. He was light practice today. No stranger to the Giants injury report is Adoree Jackson. He's nursing a calf injury. Calf injuries aren't a thing, but he is recovering from a calf injury, I should say, and he was limited in practice today. We also had Drew Phillips limited in practice today, recovered from that calf and shoulder injury. Devin Singletary with his groin was also limited at practice as well. New today, Bryce Force Wheaton with a shoulder injury did not practice. Our star of the game last week after Zimmerman did not practice. We also had DJ Davison with his shoulder. He also did not practice today. So we talked about last week against Seattle. We had a very light injury report. We built them back up a little bit with some named guys that we need to play football. But that being said, on the other side of the football, Joe Burrow was at full practice with a right wrist injury. He was limited earlier in this week. You also had their cornerback, Mike Hilton, with a knee. He was limited practice earlier this week. He was full practice today. You had their other cornerback, DJ Ivory, with a knee also. was full practice as well. The tight end, Jersey local Mike Dziecki, who also wanted to be a Giant, made it very vocal. He had a hamstring injury, and he was limited in practice today. Yeah, defensive tackle Chris Jenkins Jr. with a thumb. He was full practice today. Defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins with a hamstring. He was light practice today. You had offensive tackle Armis Mims with a calf. He was full practice today. They're calling him a fullback here, but the running back Zach Moss over there with a foot was limited. He's been playing well, so not to wish illness on anyone, but for the Giants, that's their star running back pretty much. So for him to be limited, it's better for us. Defensive edge Joseph Usay with a shoulder. He was a light practice. And then their fullback Chase Brown with a quadricep was also limited today in practice. Good stuff. Some Giant news that's gone around as well. Guys, if you got any questions out there, just feel free to reach out in the comments. Let me know. Be happy to answer anything. But exciting news from a former ex-GM is calling out, saying that Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in New York right now. Boom, boom, boom. Shots fired. Oof. How does that feel, Aaron? You're going to go retreat in a cave and trip balls on some mushrooms? Ugh. But yes, former Jet and Miami Dolphin executive Mike Timmelberg says it's Jones who's training up while the 40-year-old Rodgers is heading in the opposite direction. And what he said on the Pat McAfee show via New York Post is, and he quotes, "Right now, candidly, Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in New York. If you watch the film," is what he told Pat McAfee. He also went on and said that, so Aaron Rodgers should worry about Aaron Rodgers. He's 40 years old. He's a skill-deficient player. He's not the same player he once was. Boom, boom, boom. Shots fired. Aaron's going to come back on Pat McAfee and talk some trash about him. But in comparison, this year, so far, both quarterbacks have led their team to be 2-3. Their touchdown to interception ratio, Aaron Rodgers has 7 touchdowns, 4 picks. And then you got DJ with 6 touchdowns, 3 picks. Rodgers' passing yards is 1,093 yards compared to DJ at 1,138. The passer rating for Aaron Rodgers is 81.6 compared to Daniel Jones DJ's 86.3. And a completion rate percentage for Rodgers is 61 compared to Jones' 64. As Deb chimes in, of course you have to, except Josh Allen is also a New York quarterback, and you're absolutely right. But what this GM was talking about, it was talking about the New York City market, not so much in Buffalo, because who counts Buffalo as New York, even though it's New York State? It's South Canada is what that is. People just chugging wings and drinking beers and slamming each other through tables. It's a wild Southern Canadian West out there. Yeah. Hoof. But yeah, so shots fired. We got a little, not too much news going around besides that Tibbs might be out for 4 to 6 weeks, up to 6 weeks with that injury with his wrist. He's expected to come back sooner, hopefully around the 3 week mark, but up to 6 weeks. And then yeah, obviously Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the New York area. Too bad that both Jones and DJ play in New Jersey. So I guess you say Josh Allen's the only quarterback in New York. But anyway, that being said, let's get up into what we came here for, is our picks. Let's talk about betting some money. Because Drew and I tied last week. Actually, that's a lie. Drew went up last week on me. So we went straight head-to-head, straight up, picking them up, straight right. Drew and I both went 6 for 6. He got 6, I got 6. Now, against the spread, Drew got 8 right, I got 7. I need to check his math here. He got 9 right out of the over-unders. Out of the, what was it, 14 games I played last week? Woof. I got 10. And Drew crushed me with the trifectas because he got 4 trifectas and I got 2. Give him 27 points on the week to my 25, which totals Drew at 133 points to my 126. Which, Drew, I know you got no power, but I ain't worried, man. We got a long ways to go ahead of us. This is how you started off last year, and I crushed you. So next week, you're going to be eating jalapenos on the show because you're going to lose. As Jeff comes in. Buffalo fans will say Jets and Giants are New Jersey. I know. I'm just busting you. You're not wrong. But all right. So once again, guys, just joining in. Drew went through Hurricane Milton. Apparently Milton still has not found the stapler. It's still lost his stapler. He's way out in the Atlantic Ocean now. And Drew's home. He's dealing with a lot of down trees, a lot of down fences. But luckily, him and I spoke earlier. His house is intact, no flooding, but he's got no power. So him and I spoke offline. We got the picks together for him, and then I could talk all the crap I want to because he's not here. So let's dive right into this. All right. Thursday Night Football. We're playing it live right now. You have the Niners going into Seattle. Seattle is plus 3.5 at home, which is saying something. Saying the Niners are going to kick their butt. And the over-under in this game is 49 points. Drew and I talked about this yesterday. He did change his answer a smidge. I'm not going to say too much about that, but maybe he was watching the game. We both took the Niners to win this game. We both took the Niners in the spread, and we both took the under. So as of right now, going towards the end of the first half, we'll be hitting our trifecta. You have San Francisco up 16-0 on Seattle. Seattle's got the ball. They're driving it down. They're 2-7, and they're lining up at their own 32-yard line. So let's go Niners. I like trifectas. All right, going to London. You got the Jaguars playing the Bears, which both teams are coming off a pretty good performance for their organizations because they have not played that good of football, both of these organizations this year, but they're winning football games. So whatever they're doing it right. So you can't knock them too much. The Bears are giving up 2.5 points to the Jags in this game, and the over-under is at 44.5 points. Now, Drew in this game is taking the Bears to win, which insert his big old paw into his mouth because that guy has not been on the Bear wagon all year. He's also going to take the Bears to cover because obviously you got to cover if they want to win this game. And he's taking the over. Now, Drew, I'm going to agree with you over, but you know what team has gone over to London the most of any other football team? You guessed it, your Jacksonville Jaguars, who is undefeated in London besides the Giants. Those Jacksonville Jaguars. They go over there. They play right football. They can actually correct themselves for the year, and that's normally when they come back to America and start playing better football in general. So I'm going to take the Jags to win this game. I'm going to take them to cover. It's going to be a get right. They're going to come out of this. They're going to come back to the States 2-5. I'm sorry, 2-4, giving the Bears giving the Bears a 500 record. Coming back to America, we got the Commanders going into Baltimore. They're playing the Ravens. The Ravens are giving up 6.5 points in this game, which is crazy. And the over-under is 52.5, which is the way these two teams have been playing. It's been lights out football. I think both teams are averaging about 30. So Drew and I both took the over, which is probably your safe bet here. That being said, Drew and I also took the Ravens in the spread. Quentin Tarantino, this pick right here. But Drew went a little crazy on us. He went the Commanders. The Commanders are playing good football. Not great football. They're playing winning football. And Drew's taking the Commanders to win this game. I just can't go with it. You got the experience MVP candidate of last year, Lamar Jackson. You got so much talent around them. You're playing them at home. Granted, it's not a far travel from DC to Baltimore. But I have to take the Ravens in this game. They have to get it right. They played against the Bengals tough last week. They won in overtime in a crazy game coming back from behind. This is a get-right time for Baltimore. They did the same thing the year prior. Lamar Jackson put the team on his back and just played some dirty football. I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to teach this rookie quarterback, Jordan Daniels, some veteran lessons here, if you will. So I'm taking the Ravens to win this game. Up next, you got the Cardinals flying into, don't you know, Green Bay. They're playing your Packers. The Packers. The Packers are also giving up 5.5 points to the Cards. And the over-under in this game is a 49.5 points. Drew and I both agreed that Packers are going to win this game. It is hard to go into Lambeau Field in the past 3 decades and win a football game. I don't care who you are and how much you put up. That is one of the few places that still has a home field advantage. Drew and I kind of talked about this prior, but a lot of places that you go to these days when it comes to football with the worldwide webs out there, you can be a football fan of any team anywhere you want, not just the local team. And that used to mean something back in the day. When you're a fan of a local team, you went locally to the football game. Now you travel and you go all over the place. You go to Vegas. You think the Raiders fans, Raiders fans are crazy, but you think Raider fans are just in the stands. You got fans from all over the world going into that stadium just to watch football. But you go to Lambeau Field, those people owned Lambeau Field. They got a home field advantage. So Drew and I took the Packers, long-winded there. But 5.5 points is a lot in this modern era of NFL. This is actually teeter point. This is about the average. About 5 points is about the average of a difference of a lead so far this year. Cardinals, I don't think, are that great of a team, but they're a good enough team where they're going to put up points. So, and Drew and I actually agreed on this. We both went Cards in the spread. It's just hard to lose by more than 6 points right now in the NFL, especially when you got a high-power offense, especially when you got Marv Harrison Jr. But the over-under is a little rich. It's a little rich for Drew's blood at 49.5 points. Not for me, because the average score last week was about 50, 52 points. And both these quarterbacks could sling the ball. They're both gunslingers. Both could run the ball. And I don't think the defenses are that good. Green Bay's defense is definitely better. But I think there's going to be some scoring going around here. And a nice close game. Up next, You got the Texans going in to the Patriots. They're going into Foxborough. And probably one of the lackluster games, one of the blowout games of the week. The Pats are 7-point underdogs at home. Woof. With an over-under at 38 points. Jeb, what do you think about this game? You tell me, because woof. I'm taking the Texans. So is Drew to win this game. 7 points. I just went in this big long rant about how 5.5 points is about the average spread and how it's hard to bet over that. Well, Drew and I both just totally went back on what I just said. We were both taking Texans because this is going to be a blowout. Yes, the Patriots have a good defense. They got a great defensive head coach, if you will. But the Texans are such a high-powered offense. Like it's just going to be a blowout. And with the over under 38 points, like I mean, damn, I'm going over, and so is Drew. So we actually just hit a trifecta, most likely. And it's not because it's going to be a close game. And like Deb said, only 7 points. Only 7 points. Listen, if you tease this up to like 10, I would probably still take the Texans. You're looking at a stopping of like 30-10. So, yeah, go ahead. Take the Texans. And then actually, I'm gonna skip a few games because what you should do is probably parlay with another team that I don't want to agree with over here, but you should probably parlay in with the Eagles. But we'll get to the Eagles a little bit. As Deb says, isn't this going to be Drake May's debut? It 100% is going to be Drake May's debut. Tony Brisket, slow cooked, is out of the game. He looks like the backup quarterback he is, and now you're going to put a rookie in to get slaughtered. It is not going to be pretty for a rookie quarterback. Hopefully this does not damage his confidence to play forward. Granted, he's playing for the Patriots post Tom Brady Belichick era, so that's probably going to damage your confidence to begin with. Up next, we're going to go into Tampa. Well, actually, we're not going to Tampa, but the Buccaneers are going to travel into New Orleans to play the Saints in a bitter divisional rivalry. These divisions, like these four teams, when they play each other, it's always tough, close football. Even typically 80, probably 7% of the time when they play each other, it's a close game in the under. But you also get like last Thursday Night Football where you had the Falcons just scoring up 37 to win against the Bucs. Like it's both of these teams. I mean, all these teams down there could put up some points. Look at the Saints at the beginning of the year, but they've fallen off since week 3. Anyway, you got the Buccaneers playing New Orleans. New Orleans is giving up 3.5 points, and the over/under is 41.5 points. Yeah, like I just said, the Saints have fallen off from grace. They came in playing some hard football, beating up on some decent teams. Everyone thought, wow, Derek Carr looks great. Well, Derek Carr is also now hurt and not going to play. I think he hurt his ribs last week. You also had Taysom Hill, which was their backup, who also lines up as a tight end. He's like their universal key kind of player. He also is questionable to play this game. So you got, I think it was Hoyer that was playing Monday Night Football for him. So you're coming off of a short week with your third string quarterback. Yeah, give me the Bucs all day long in this game. I don't care what the spread is. Give me that too. Bucs. And Drew agrees with me. And we're both taking the over in this game. And I just think it's going to be a field day for Mayfield down there. It's just going to be picking them, just back and forth. And I think Hoyer, whoever the third string is down there, he's probably going to throw a couple picks out there as well, giving ball right back to Mayfield. So should be very interesting to watch. All right, the toilet bowl game of the week goes to the Browns. Coming into Philadelphia, playing them Eagles. Eagles are giving up 8.5 points. They're 8.5-point favorites in this game, with the over/under at 43.5 points. This is just going to be a madhouse. A.J. Brown's come back healthy. He hasn't played in a few weeks. I don't have to talk about too much about the Eagles. We all know how good, crappy the Eagles could be, but the Browns have been atrocious. And I would not bet $1 on that team until they sit Deshaun Watson, because he does not play like he should. He's got rust all over the place, and he's got no heart to play the ball. All he cares about is his rub and tug. And it showed as he went to go walk off the field, and he's guaranteed all that money so he could act like a spoiled little child, because he could walk around doing whatever he wants, and he's going to get paid. There's nothing to hold over his head, and he's poisoning the football team. Look how well they played without him last year. Bring back Joe Flacco, then you can start betting on this Browns team again. So I'm taking the Eagles. So is Drew. That 8.5 points, it doesn't deter us. Like, once again, that's the second time this episode that I've made a session to that 5.5 rule mark. And I'm taking the under because I don't think the Browns are going to be able to do much. Nick Chubb is still not coming out running the football for him. And even if he does, who knows what he looks like running. The Eagles have not looked like the team they were a year ago. You know, the second half of football last year, they fell apart, and they have not played great football this year either. But this is also not a great team in the Browns, and they should be taking full advantage coming off the bye. So go Eagles, Eagles, Eagles. I'm so confident in Eagles winning this game that if you're going to bet anything else that you feel confident with, parlay with the Eagles, because then you could probably win more money with it. Enough about the Eagles, because this is a Giants podcast. Moving right along. Let's talk about the Colts going into Tennessee playing the Titans. It's a 1-point game. The Titans are favored by 1, or +1 in this game. I should say the Colts are favored by 1. And the over-under is 43.5 points. Will Levis has more problems besides the fact that he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, because it is, besides that being gross, maybe it's getting to his head. He also has let me down last week with no new memes, but he comes out weekly with a new meme of defeat. That Titans team doesn't know its identity anymore, and they don't know how to play proper football. Granted, these teams always play each other close, but this is a game where, as much as I typically wouldn't bet it, if it's a Tannehill game, if he's still there, I probably wouldn't bet it. But this is also, I still have to say, this is El Paso for me. But since we don't skip out on you guys, Joe and I both went with the Colts in this game. The Colts have not been playing football like they did last year. Anthony Richardson is most likely not going to play. JT is questionable for all you fantasy owners out there. And you're probably going to get Wacko Flacco throwing the rock again for him. But that's okay, because he's won football games the past couple of years in his nice old age of salt and pepper beard man at 39. So taking the Colts to win this game, that 1-point difference does not mean a lick to me. Absolutely not. They're going to win this game, and obviously going to have to win by more than 1. Worst case, they win by 1, you push. But it's going to be a blowout. I shouldn't say a blowout. It's probably going to be like 17-9. So, as I'm saying, 17-9. I'm also taking the under. And it's kind of funny because it's like Drew saw my notes And when this hits, him and I will both be hitting a trifecta because he agreed with my picks 1,000%. But let's get into a game where we did not agree. And either he's going to call me an idiot or I'm going to call him an idiot. But you got the Chargers going into Denver, the Mile High Club over there, if you will. You have the Chargers, the 3-point favorites. And the over-under in this game is a 35.5 points, which is begging you. It's just begging you to take the over. Don't fall for it. Take the under. Drew and I agree. Take the under in this game. You got the Broncos defense has been playing top 5 defense this year. You don't have an electrifying offense in the Chargers right now. And with Harbaugh being there, they're more of a run kind of offense. So it's going to be burn the clock, run the ball, low-scoring game with a really good defense. And Bo Nix, not saying he looks great, but he's been looking better the past couple weeks. And they're probably going to do the same thing. Short dink dunks and burn the clock. Look for a nice low-scoring game. But Drew's going to take the Chargers to win this game. He believes in the Harbaughs. Remember when, Drew, you said that when I said one of the better coaches in modern football is going over there, and you're like, oh, he's not good at all. But look who you're picking now. And he's also going to take the Chargers in the points. Kind of makes sense. But yeah, I don't agree. I think it's a Broncos game. I think they're going to win at home. I think they're turning things around. Ever since the Miami Dolphins put a 70 burger, to quote Talking Giants there, they put a 70 burger on the Broncos team. They turned themselves around. John Payne fired who he needed to fire. He reevaluated. He's got a young bunch of young guys in there, and they've been playing really good football, really okay football, and beating up on the teams they should be. This is a divisional game, and with a new head coach and a sophomore new head coach, with a new quarterback, with Sean Payne. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of running. It's going to be low scoring, but Broncos are going to win, in my opinion, as Deb chimes in. Boom, Drew. Deb agrees. She knows. She's a smart woman. Up next, keeping it in that division there, you got the Raiders. The Raiders. They're going to be hosting the Steelers there. And the Steelers are the 3-point favorites with the over-under at 36.5 points. It's another set of teams that don't like to score a lot of points. So, once again, you see 36.5 points, you go, that's pretty low. Granted, we just talked about 35.5 points, but that's the lowest of the week. This is the second lowest. And you go, I should probably pick the over. No. Once again, this one, Vegas is begging for you to go with the over, go with the under with this one. The Raiders don't know how to put up points right now, and the same with the Steelers. Like, you got was it Bowser, whatever his name is, the kicker over with the Steelers are doing well because all they do is kick field goals. So. And the Raiders, they just can't score touchdowns unless you're Bowers, their rookie tight end, who's been doing pretty well. Other than that, like they can't put it together. They just bench Minshew, and they put it in. Was it Connor O'Connell, AOC, whatever his name is, Adrian O'Connell. So I'm taking the Steelers in this game. I'm going to take the Steelers to cover. Honestly, I mean. They're going into the Raiders. They're +3. That much. I'm taking the under. And I don't have to ask Drew what he thinks about this game because he agrees. It's going to be a pretty low-scoring, boring Steelers win. The bounce back off a loss. All right, talk about a nice slow burning game. You have the Falcons going into Carolina playing the Panthers. The Falcons are 6-point favorites in this game, so they're giving up 6 points to the Panthers. 47.5 points is the over-under in this game. This is another one. This is going to be a lot of low-scoring games this week. We just had a lot of high-scoring games, games over 50. I think we got a lot of low-scoring games. Games that probably in that, for the most part, under 40. I shouldn't say under 40, like 42, 45. Like right in that ballpark, not that 55 we had last week. But then again, like, the Panthers got pretty messed up through a couple of hurricanes there. So you think they want to play some tough football, but guess what? Atlanta's not that far. And I think the Falcons are you're going to go on a little bit of a run here. I'm taking the Falcons to win this game. So is Drew. But what we differ here, Drew's giving the Panthers credit on that spread. I don't think it matters. I think the Andy Dalton experiment of playing him, getting him up a whole bunch of points, is gone. It was gone last week against the Bears, the inept Bears, if you will, the hibernating Bears. You got the Kirk Cousin Falcons. I take them in the spread, but Drew and I do agree it's going to be an under game, but probably because he thinks it's going to be more of a low-scoring, equal game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring blowout. Up next, you got the Lions going into Dallas. Lions are 3-point favorites against the Boys, and the over-under is 52.5 points. I've been talking about the under. Well, guess what? Time to go over, baby. Everything's bigger in Texas. Yeehaw. Drew and I are taking the Lions to win this game. The Lions have been a high-power offense. They need to bounce back a little bit there. Cowboys defense has not looked that great this year. That was one of the things last year, the past couple years, but their defense has been good. The Lions are going to show them the difference between a playoff caliber team and a team that says they're a playoff caliber team. They're going to win in the spread. Obviously, Drew also took the Lions to win and took them in the spread. And we're going to go for the trifecta here. We got a few of these here, Drew, so we better be hitting these out, right? We're both taking the over in this game because they're going to be throwing the rock around. Dallas is going to be behind. Dak's going to be forced to throw the ball around. Lions defense isn't as good as it should be if they want to go into the Super Bowl, but they are playing good football. Dak's bound to throw a pick or two in this game because he's playing from behind. Actually, I want to make that side bet now. Dak throws a pick. Your Sunday night football game. If you want to know what Drew and I actually really think about this game, tune into our episode that we filmed last night. It's available on audio, on Spotify, on YouTube, and everywhere that you listen to everything here. But you got the Bengals going into MetLife Stadium playing our New York Giants. The Bengals are 3-point favorites here. Like, what gives? How in the heck? And the over-under, which is very generous, is 52.5 points. My goodness here. We talked about keys to victory last night. Well, guess what? Drew and I are taking the Giants to win, and the Giants are covering this game. And because of that, we both have to take the under to stay true to the game plan of how to win this game. 52.5 points. You need to get 53 points to get the over. The Giants, if they're going to win this game, they're going to keep it both scores about 20, give or take. So you're looking at 40. Even if it's like last week, 40. Even if you say it's 27-23, you're looking at 50 points there. That's the under. So, moving right along. Monday Night Football. Monday night. It's not quite exciting with that Drew here. Rats. But we do disagree in this game. And it's me throwing out a little sidearm football here. Monday Night Football. You got the Bills going into MetLife Stadium playing the Aaron Rodgers Jets. The Salas's Jets. The Jets are 2.5-point favorites in this game. Well, they're given 2.5 points in this game. And the over-under is 41 points. Drew's taking the Bills to win this game. The Bills to cover this game, 2.5 points is not much. I don't blame you, Drew. If you're taking that team to win, you got to go all the way. But you're also taking the under in this game, probably because you don't trust anyone to score points here. As Deb comes in, the Jets are a mess. You gotta take the Bills. Normally, you're right. Normally, I agree with you. Josh Allen, as a Josh Allen fantasy football owner, the Bills aren't 100% either. Not that I follow them 100% religiously, but they also are a mess a little bit there. And I'm going to take the Jets. You got teams that bounce back all the time after a head coach fired. Yes, you got the timeless. Well, I shouldn't say timeless because he's aged like leather in Aaron Rodgers, Leather Allen's son. So I'm going to take the Jets to win this. If they're going to win, they got to cover. And I'm also going to take the under because I think it's going to be more a defensive game that shows up and a bitter divisional rivalry here. Like, it's just going to be one of those sloppy games, and they're going to show up to whatever interim head coach shows up, and the Jets going to play probably good for a week or two, and then go right back to what the Jets do best: crash. Because they stink. But I'm going to take them in this divisional game to win this divisional game with a new interim head coach. But that being said, before we get into our next thing, we're going to pay some of the bills here.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
All right. With that being said, Deb, I'm not sure if you hear from the get-go here, but Drew and I also talked about the Niners to win, the Niners to cover, and in the under. But right now, the score is 16-3. The Niners get a nice chunk change right there from Kittle, and they're marching down the field in the third quarter. 16-3. We're sitting pretty here. And then, that should wrap up the show, guys. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Remember, we are live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, which is one of our favorites. So please like, subscribe, ring that bell. And how can I almost forget? We're also live on Drew's LinkedIn. Oh, jeez. He's not here. We're also up the next day in audio and all those podcast lands out there on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, wherever you can get your podcast, we are out there. We got some pretty awesome beards in this profile pictures. Check it out. Please like, subscribe. We are terrible at marketing, guys. So please help us. Make sure you make sure you share with a friend. Remember, we got a buymeacupofcoffee.com. Help us out there. We also got the super shares over on YouTube. So please smash like and push us out there because we are terrible. And Drew, you stink. Your picks are going to lose. I win. Ha, 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 ha. As Deb comes in saying, great job, Rob. Thanks, Deb. Appreciate it. And Deb, maybe you want to get in the chat over there. Maybe you want to do this at home with me. But Giant fans, thank you for listening. And as always, go J-Man! 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 Drew, you stink, J-Man.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please